You think you know Ronda Rousey, the Olympic judo champion, the woman who dominated the UFC's bantamweight division with a record-breaking streak of wins, the first female fighter to bring MMA into the mainstream. But what if I told you that behind the headlines, behind the fame and the glitz, there is a story almost nobody wants to talk about? A story of the decline of Ronda Rousey, a story of struggles, setbacks, and harsh realities that even the fiercest fans often overlook. Today we are going to take a deep dive into the untold story of Ronda Rousey's fall, from the very heights of fame to the challenges she faced after her UFC reign ended. Stick with me, because this is a journey that reveals the human side of a fighter many viewed as invincible. Ronda's rise in MMA was meteoric and almost unprecedented. Coming off her Olympic judo success, she made the transition to mixed martial arts and quickly established herself as a force to be reckoned with. Her first UFC fight was more than just a victory. It was a statement. Ronda's combination of raw athleticism, precision, and aggressive style allowed her to finish fights quickly, often in under a minute. Fans were mesmerized, and media outlets hailed her as the next big thing in MMA. She didn't just win, she dominated. The aura around her was almost mythical. With her signature armbar submission and her unrelenting confidence, Ronda became a household name, breaking barriers for women in a sport that had long been male-dominated. Her personality outside the cage, brash and outspoken, only added to her legend. She was untouchable, or so it seemed. But with rapid ascent often comes immense pressure, and for Ronda, the pressures were intense and multi-layered. She wasn't just an athlete, she was a global brand, a poster figure for women in combat sports, and a symbol of female empowerment. Every fight carried weight beyond just a win or a loss. And while she appeared strong, unshakable, and confident, the truth is that sustaining peak performance at the top of such a physically and mentally demanding sport is extraordinarily difficult. Ronda's schedule, constant media obligations, and public scrutiny created an environment where one mistake, one loss, could and eventually would shift the narrative surrounding her career. The cracks, however small at first, were beginning to appear beneath the surface. The turning point came in 2015 with her fight against Holly Holm. Ronda entered the octagon as the heavy favorite, boasting an undefeated record and unmatched dominance. Yet in a stunning upset, Holm knocked her out, and the MMA world watched in disbelief. It was a moment that shattered Ronda's aura of invincibility and marked the beginning of a very public decline. Analysts have discussed the tactical errors, the underestimation of Holm's striking, and the lack of adequate preparation. But beyond the technical analysis, there was an emotional and psychological dimension to her loss that many fans overlooked. For someone who had always been at the top, whose identity was deeply entwined with being the best, such a defeat was not just professional, it was personal. This loss triggered a period of intense scrutiny, media criticism, and public pressure that would shape the rest of her career. After Holm, Ronda attempted to rebuild her career with a fight against Amanda Nunes in 2016. Expectations were high, but the result was another knockout loss, even more definitive and humiliating in the eyes of critics. The world that once celebrated her dominance was now questioning everything: her skills, her strategy, her mental toughness. What made Ronda so unstoppable before seemed, for the first time, vulnerable. Many experts point to the evolving landscape of women's MMA as a factor. Opponents had studied her style and found weaknesses, but the narrative quickly turned personal. The decline was no longer just about fights. It became about the toll on Ronda herself, her confidence, and her public persona. Interviews revealed glimpses of frustration, disillusionment, and emotional strain, reminding everyone that even the toughest fighter is human. Outside the cage, Ronda faced additional challenges that compounded her decline. She ventured into Hollywood and mainstream media, starring in films and making high-profile appearances, which shifted her focus from fighting. While these opportunities elevated her fame, they arguably diverted attention from her preparation and training. Meanwhile, the MMA world continued to evolve rapidly, with new fighters emerging and competition intensifying. Maintaining dominance in a changing environment proved increasingly difficult. Moreover, Ronda's highly publicized struggles with motivation and discipline became talking points among analysts and fans alike. The very traits that had made her a charismatic and polarizing figure, confidence, boldness, and fearlessness, were now scrutinized under a harsher lens. Her identity as a fighter and celebrity became increasingly intertwined, making it hard to separate the athlete from the persona, the success from the pressure. Despite these setbacks, Ronda has shown resilience in her own way. She has ventured into acting, commentary, and advocacy, reinventing her career outside the cage. Yet, for hardcore MMA fans, the image of rowdy Ronda dominating fights is hard to reconcile with the losses and challenges she faced in later years. Her story is a reminder that athletic careers are rarely linear, and that even the greatest fighters can encounter declines that are complex and multifaceted. It's also a story about the human cost of being at the top, the relentless pressure, the public scrutiny, and the personal sacrifices required to maintain a legendary status. Her decline is not a failure. It is a human story of ambition, triumph, and the harsh realities of competitive sports. In the end, Ronda Rousey's story is about more than just victories and defeats. It's about the rise, the fall, and the transformation of an athlete whose impact on MMA is undeniable. While her decline may be the focus of discussion now, it doesn't erase the incredible achievements she made or the barriers she broke for women in combat sports. Her career serves as both inspiration and cautionary tale, showing us the pressures of fame, the inevitability of challenges, and the resilience required to navigate a life in the spotlight. The decline of Ronda Rousey is a chapter in a story that is far from over, because even after setbacks, legends leave a mark that time can never erase.